Good morning. Happy New Year. Dan Delmar in for Elias until Thursday. It's going to be a big year for Canadian automakers as they have a lot to do. They have certainly a lot of cars to deliver, a lot of electrical battery parts to source, and they have about 10 years to get rid of the sale of gas combustion vehicles. Can we get there? And what does this year hold for the auto sector? Our guest is Flavio Volpe. He's the president at Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association of Canada, and he was actually just nominated as a member of the Order of Canada. Mr. Volpe, hello.
Hey, Dan. Happy New Year. Thanks for having me on.
Happy New Year. Congratulations on the big honor. That is really something. How did that feel getting that notice?
I want to say it's a nice surprise, but that's really kind of discounting the experience. I mean, it's humbling. It's the honor of my lifetime, but I have a great platform, and I work for a great industry of people who go to work every day and don't get the limelight, but was the industry we turned to when we needed PPE and ventilators during the pandemic, and it's going to be the industry that helps bring us all into the 21st century's greatest challenge here, this electrification of the fleet.
Yeah, and automotive has been one of, unfortunately, few industries in Canada that is consistently sort of running on all cylinders, if you excuse the pun, which is a great thing for our economy. How did you get involved in automotive?
So I was always a car guy, and then in a short stint, I worked in the Ontario government on the car investment file when, frankly, everybody said it was a dead industry and it was the Rust Belt, and we've got to move to all be video game writers or whatever else the next generation wanted to do. But I took this job 10 years ago, and I've watched over the last, especially the last 4 or 5 years since we got the new NAFTA rules that I always thought favored Canada. And we're seeing incredible things happen. I was just out there for the Northvolt announcement a couple of months ago. We are being seen around the world as the place in North America to get your electrification connected autonomous vehicle solutions for all the world's automakers. And there's a lot of work to do, but the 2024 outlook looks good. We've certainly turned the corner.
The federal environment minister announced just days ago, Stephen Guilbeault, that new gas-powered cars and trucks will no longer be sold by 2035. At least that's the plan. Is that a realistic timeline?
It isn't for lots of reasons, although at the same time, I do think that stretch targets are important. I think that it ignores the reality that in a lot of places, across this country and around the world, that whether it's good capacity or the type of use, you're going to see a lot longer phase out of internal combustion, but you're also going to see great new technologies like one that Porsche has patented, and Porsche is part of the VW family, that they're using a renewables powered hydrogen-based synthetic fuels that can be used in internal combustion engines. So could we be in a scenario 10 years from now where we're not selling vehicles that put out carbon? That's a great target. That's not what the minister announced. He said they should all be battery electric or zero emission, but we've definitely turned the corner. It needs to be, the policy needs to be refined so we make sure that we're not trying to pick a technology, we're trying to pick an objective. But the further the American market goes, the better it is for Canadian manufacturers. 85% of what we make goes there. And so we are definitely trying to work with governments in both countries as well as in Mexico to make sure that we do it thoughtfully, and so that all of those great Canadian technologies, critical minerals, and then all that, kind of autonomous, connected AI machine learning that, one of the global capitals is Montreal, gets to be platformed on these new cars.
I don't doubt that we have the talent to make this happen theoretically. I think the main challenge is the sourcing and supply chain issues. We're already facing supply chain issues with cars, and it's hard to get certain electric vehicles as of right now. Can we get that sourcing in place in time to meet that deadline? Will the Northvolt factory in Quebec help with sourcing batteries, and how do we make sure the parts are available?
Well, so the Northvolt factory is going to be a really big player there. They're already doing business with companies like BMW that make about 1 million cars a year in the Carolinas. We won't get there unless we're willing to say that we're happy to have Chinese vehicles imported here with no Canadian content, or American vehicles like Teslas that are either made there or have their batteries sourced there and brought here. We've got to be very careful, Dan. As you're alluding to, right now, if there's no major progress, if we push for 100% electric vehicles by 2035, then we're going to see a very, very significant part of that market be imports from China, and I think that's a failure of leadership if we do that.
Are we seeing already some of those imports, new car companies from China making their way to Canadian streets? I think there might be one or two that are here already.
What we're going to see is a mix of things like Tesla Model 3s that are made and imported from Shanghai. We're going to see some Buick vehicles that have been sold here for years. Buick and Vision, they're from China. No Canadian content, no North American content. And then also, in Montreal, we've got this kind of well-known taxi pilot with 2,000 vehicles from BYD, which is a Chinese company. It's the world's biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles, more than Tesla. And again, no Canadian technology on any of those things. And, some people would say, well, why do you want to be so protective of your market? Consumers benefit from when we get choice from everywhere around the world. Well, let's not be terribly naive. There isn't a Canadian automaker. And so we've got to protect Canadian IP and technology. We have a great trade agreement with the U.S., the biggest market that all these car makers try to access. We have exclusive access almost. And all of these markets we compete with, whether it's the Chinese or the Korean or Japanese or Vietnamese, where VinFast comes from, they really protect their home markets. And so we have to stop. If we want to be leaders, you can't be a Boy Scout and be a leader. You've got to be kind of knuckles out and elbows up.
Flavio Volpe joins us, president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association. If Canadians are looking for a new vehicle this year and want to buy Canadian as much as possible, or have as many Canadian-made parts in the car as possible, which brands should they be looking at?
General Motors makes cars here. Ford, Stellantis. Those are the popular Dodge brands. But Toyota and Lexus are here, as well as Honda and on and off some Acura brands that come through the Honda facility. There are any number of cars made in the U.S. out of 12 different brands that have lots of Canadian content on them. And so I would just suggest to people, when you're looking at cars, if you have the intent to support the local economy, just do a quick Wikipedia search. If that car is made anywhere in North America, it's going to have a lot of Canadian content. If it's made somewhere else, it isn't.
Any thoughts on Project Arrow? I guess you're involved in this somehow, right? What's the latest on this effort to build a made in Canada car?
Yeah, that's our car. We built it. It's a bumper Canadian vehicle, except for the screen, so 97% Canadian. But still, right now, it's a technology demonstration vehicle, meaning all of the components and systems are on it, and the whole project. It's just come back from Dubai and going to Tokyo and Seoul in the next 2 months. Is designed for Canadian suppliers, whether they're software, hardware, or material suppliers, to get business around the world. You can't buy one unless you want to buy the prototype from me, and that one costs $20 million. I mean, I can extend great payment terms to you, Dan, but right now it is a demonstrator project for all those great Canadian suppliers.
Any chance that we might see a made in Canada brand, whether it's Arrow or another, in the near future?
Yeah, I made a prediction last year's Canadian International Auto Show when we debuted the Arrow. I said, whether it's the Arrow or somebody else, the additive manufacturing technologies like the 3D printing and metals is going to change the way that we make cars. And that within the next 10 years, that was the 50th anniversary show. By the 60th anniversary show, we're going to see Canadian car brands. Whether it's somebody who says, look, I've got access to mobile capital, I want to take a shot with the Arrow, and I've always said, absolutely, we would be willing to work with anybody on that. Or lots of other projects that I know have come to see us and get advice from us and get suppliers from us. We're going to see those within, I said that last year, within the next 10 years, so within the next 9 years. Before this target either achieved or missed, you'll have your Canadian options.
Lastly, Flavio, for those shopping for a car this year, again, in terms of performance for electric cars, a lot of them have some issues and some tough, some bugs and some stuff, some trouble, I guess, adapting to the new tech. What are your most reliable picks for electric cars these days?
Well, I think I'll flip it around to you. Rather than just brand, I'll say, look, think about your own scenario. You've got a home, a detached home or semi-detached home and a driveway, and that you could charge in your garage or your driveway. It's probably going to be a decent selection out there for you. Everything from Volkswagen to Tesla to General Motors, Ford, Mercedes. If you're in a multifamily, you're living in an apartment, you're living in a condo, think about how important it will be for you to have ease of charging and where you live. It might be better to look at some hybrids right now, or some really good internal combustion engine vehicles, regular gas vehicles that are very, very good on gas. And when you think about your full footprint, you do really well if you had a Honda Civic, a Toyota Corolla as an option if you don't have an ability to charge at home.
Flavio Volpe, president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association, a Canadian car industry leader. Thank you, Flavio, and Happy New Year.
Thanks for having me on.